Barbers, if I can give you one piece of advice, is to watch this video the whole way through. Grab yourself a pen and a notepad because I'm giving you the most valuable piece of content that you're going to see on the internet. I'm going to show you my whole client acquisition system and content funnel that allows me to convert my viewers into monetized payments. I'm going to show you exactly how to drive traffic to your page, nurture and redirect, and then pre-sale and convert, all by making your content link within the ecosystem. You would have seen in my previous video, I've talked about a content ecosystem. I'm now showing you it in action and how to create one yourself. So you can steal my whole client acquisition system for free. Let's jump into the video. Okay. So right, we're jumping in. As you can see now, it looks pretty bare, but I just want to give a quick shout out to Sam Huckster, who's my mentor, and he showed me this whole client acquisition system and I tailored it for Barbers and for my company Scalo. So I just want to give a quick shout out to him because he laid the foundation to show me how to do this. So the whole purpose of this content funnel and this client acquisition system is one, we're going to drive traffic through organic and paid ads. And then step two, we're going to nurture and redirect them to our profile using lead magnets and via DMs. And then finally, with all of this, we're going to pre-sale and convert via our emails and YouTube so that at that point they're ready to buy from you straight away, so that you are laying the foundations and your content does the hard work for you and does the hard selling. So this looks extremely bare. Let me just zoom out and move over to this one here. And as you can see, this is Scalo. And if you're a barber and you want to learn how to scale your barbering business, hit me up on Instagram and DM me the word profit and I'll send you more information about Scalo. But less about that now. Let's jump into the content funnel. So step one is the drive traffic, okay? This is where we're going to talk about our organic and paid traffic. Let's talk about our organic content first. So our organic content is all about the content we're posting without via paid ads. This could be our YouTube videos, our reels and stuff like that. So I actually talked over this in a last YouTube video. I'll make sure to pop up on screen now, talking about creating content that converts. So whether you're trying to structure your videos for process videos and getting clients in your chair, or whether you're trying to structure them so that you can start generating more leads to sell your high ticket offer, low ticket offer, whatever, it explains everything about that. So make sure to go check that out. I'll link it above. But as you can see, our organic traffic, the whole purpose of this is to drive traffic to our profile. And as you can see, I've generated a fair few views. We've had 6.9 million here, 1 million there, 1 million there, 3 million there. As you can see, there's a lot of views. In the last year or so, I've generated about 100 million views. So I kind of know what we're doing. But let's talk about it here. What is the purpose of our organic content? Ideally, you want to have visibility content and viral and attracting. We want to make sure that our content here is pulling as many people into our profile. And I know some other gurus out there and saying that organic traffic and not targeted views isn't that great. But ultimately, I feel like any traffic to your page is good traffic and monetizable because people have that interest, okay? So good traffic is better than no traffic in my opinion. Traffic to the page is good. No matter whether it's not targeted, it's organic, you can always try and monetize it. But what are we trying to do? It's made to grab the attention, go viral and bring a ton of new people into your ecosystem. Our ecosystem is this whole system here, okay? We're making sure that our whole content works for each other, all right? This is our ecosystem here. We're making sure that our whole content works for each other. But how do we structure and what are the best kind of videos to go viral? In my opinion, these are the most successful content styles that I've used day in and day out that continuously get me views like this. You can see 7.6 million views. We have a lot of non-followers, so that's people who are showing potential, and we've reached 4 million accounts in the last 30 days. So what content styles are we going to do? We want to make sure that they're short, scroll stopping, and built to go viral, and based on trends people are already watching. So what could they be? Process videos. This is where you're going to show your technique and content styles that make you stand out. As you can see here, here's a few process videos showing your steps from A to B. Consultation videos, which is extremely important because one, you can show your personality, you can create a hook so that you can start grabbing the attention, and it also shows that you understand how you're going to fix your client's problems that they're facing. So how are you going to do this? You want to show the problem your client is dealing with and explain how you're going to fix it. But again, we want to start with a strong hook. So you may have seen on Instagram now, there's a lot of people going around going, oh, how much are you going to tip me if this haircut's nice? That's hooking people in straight away. Their whole content is scripted, right? They're making sure that they're hooking you in by saying these sorts of things. So it's really, really important that we do that. And then the easy one is also as before and afters of best haircuts of the week, just to show diversity between your skill set. Now we've covered organic traffic. We know what it does, right? So we're generating as many views as possible, organic traffic, and driving traffic to the profile, okay? But what happens if we don't have viral videos and you don't have loads of followers? That's not to worry. This is where paid traffic comes in. So the good thing about paid traffic, right, is you can know that it's guaranteed that you're going to get people to see it, okay, because you're paying for it, and Meta and Instagram does the hard work for you. So whereas 1 month you may have 7 million views, okay, but then the next month it might drop to only 1 million, you're losing that much traffic. However, with paid ads, you know that you're 100% going to be getting these views. So what are the paid ads that we're going to be doing? We're going to be running DM ads, profile visit ads, and social proof ads. So how are we going to use our DM ads? We're going to use paid traffic traffic to take one of our free assets, to then drive them into our DMs where we can start messaging them, nurturing them. You can either have a DM setter or do it yourself. It depends what kind of level you're at and how many messages you actually are getting a day. So it could be beneficial to actually get a DM setter, okay? But what you want to do is nurture your content and nurture your clients through your content, but opening real conversations so they get that connection with you. And then also what we want to do is profile visit ads. This is purely just to drive people to our profile, increase follower count, and actively engage with your content and ecosystem. So we want to get people involved as much as your content and consuming as much as content as possible, so they start chipping away at that 7-hour rule. In the last video, I go over a 7-11-4 rule a lot more. And what it is basically you need your customers and your consumers to go through 7 hours of your content over 11 different touch points over 4 separate platforms, so that they start consuming as much of your content from you before they'll buy. So the whole purpose of our profile visit ads is to get as many people visiting our profile so that they can start consuming and getting into our content ecosystem. And then finally, we need to have a social proof ad. We need to show that our system works. So as you can see here, this is what we generated a few weeks ago. We had a sale of 2,400, generating 3.3 million views, generated 3.5 million views here, interactions. We need to show that our content actually works. People want to see that they're buying into actually works. So social proof is a great way to do that. So by combining all 3 of these ads, as well as your organic content, you are constantly driving traffic to your page. But now we have the traffic driving to our page, what do we do with that engagement? This is where it comes in. We need to nurture and redirect. So with our ads, this is our paid section. We're driving people to our profile, okay? Is where we need to make sure that our content is consuming people and drawing people in. How are we going to create this content? So this content could be done by making sure that we're creating authority content. Authority content is extremely important. Without authority content, you don't position yourself as someone that they want to learn from. You need to make sure that you are that go-to resource that people want to buy from. And how do we do that? We want to make sure that we're implementing mindset shifts. We want to show people they actually can do it. Your videos need to explain to people and change the way they think about how they view their business. So for me, I'm showing barbers that they can create money online and stop having to work 10 to 15 hours a day. That is the mindset shift that I'm creating. I need barbers to realize that they can scale outside the shop. Social proof, like I mentioned before, we need to prove that our system works. Social proof is extremely important. No one will buy into you if they don't see that your system works. As well as another great way of doing this is having a relatable story. This is by showing your experiences, okay? By making it relatable and showing people that you actually can do this. Don't make it unachievable, making people think, I can never get to that stage. Show people how you've done it and what they can do to do the same. And then finally, your expertise. This is crucial. People want to buy into you. Nowadays, a 13-year-old could go onto ChatGPT, right? And he could download all the assets, start creating content and make himself look like an expert. But in hindsight, he has no experience. So what you need to do is show your expertise, show your story, show your experience and how you've learned your things your way. That just purely comes with experience, okay? So make sure that you're highlighting all 4 of these pillars of authority content to position yourself as someone that they want to learn from. So now we've understood what content we should be posting on our profile, right? We're driving the traffic to our profile. What are we going to do? Another great way of creating content, I like to call this the think of you first content, right? Your Instagram stories. It is at the top of your Instagram at the end of the day. We need to make sure that we're constantly posting on our stories so that we are top of mind, think of you content first, right? So what are we actually be posting on our stories? This could be anything from content assets, lead magnets, direct CTAs. So if we were to post a content asset, right? We're going to post, right, here's a LUT, so you have that perfect color grade on your footage. If you want to post a lead magnet, this is going to draw people in, giving that free asset. So we can give people, right, here's an editing breakdown on how you edit your videos to go viral. And then finally, we want to implement direct CTAs so they can join your high ticket program. But we don't want to be posting these all the time, especially your direct CTAs, because people get bored of that. We want to post our direct CTAs about every 2 weeks, all right? That's kind of the mind frame we want to be posting. But we always want to be posting our think of you first content, our stories, so that we're at the top of the search bar. Another great thing to post on your stories is the behind the scenes. Show people how you're building your business. People want to see the process from A to B because no one wants to see that perfect story. People want to see you hard work so that they can relate to it, okay? A bit like this over here, right? Relatable story. This is a great way of showing your behind the scenes. Mindset shifts. Showing people how they can change their mindset, change their view on the way they look at their business right now. Social proof, again, very similar to authority content, right? By having behind the scenes, mindset shifts and social proof, we're building that authority. And we also want to use polls and questions, all right? We want to engage with our followers. This is a great way to engage with your followers and actually find out what they are struggling with. Okay, so now we've covered the think of you first content, right? Our Instagram stories. We know what to post. We know what sort of sequences we need to post on Instagram stories to start directing people to our profile and our DMs and stuff. let's talk a little bit more about lead magnets. What is a lead magnet? And they're a really, really powerful tool to use, okay? We use lead magnets to generate leads into our content ecosystem. So we can give clients or potential buyers a little bit of what our course is and a free guide so that they can implement it straight away. So let's talk about a little bit what lead magnet can be, right? So a lead magnet could be like a mini course, right? So how to structure content properly, or it could be simple things like, here we go, a cheat sheet or guides and breakdowns. We want to give a little aspect of what our course is so that people get an insight of what we're giving them. But one thing we do not want to do with our content cheat sheets and our lead magnets and stuff like that is put too much information in them, okay? I see time and time again people creating lead magnets that are just so much information trying to solve every single problem under the sun that a barber may be facing. In hindsight, it's just too much information. We want to pinpoint it. So for example, it could be, right, here's an equipment list for what you need to use to start creating viral content. Here's my editing breakdown on how I create this viral video. Or simple as, use this as a content structure so you can figure out which days you need to post on based on how busy your schedule is. We just want to make sure that when they're coming in to our profile, we are nurturing and directing them with our lead magnets by giving them that free asset so that they're feeling like they're gaining something by giving us a follow. So now that we've covered the first two phases of our system, right? We've driven our traffic to our page with our organic content and our paid content. We've nurtured and directed them by using our authority content, so it positions us as authority and something that they want to learn from. We've now used lead magnets, and then they know a little bit more about our think of you first content, right? Where they're getting their content assets, they're seeing you build the brand, you're giving them a little bit free of your course, and that's with the lead magnets. This is really, really nurturing them, okay? But what we want to make sure with our DMs, right, is when we're driving this traffic, okay, we don't want to straight away go into the DMs and go in for the kill. I see time and time again, people going into DMs and then straight away trying to hop on board with a call with you. We're selling a high ticket service here, okay? That isn't an impulse buy. We need to make sure that the client or potential buyer is not forced to go straight on a call with them without any sort of backbone and don't know anything about what it is we offer. They're not going to come from a 20-second long ad or a 30-second long video, right? And want to buy 2.5K of you. It just doesn't work like that. You need to nurture them, they need to continue consuming your content, get your free assets so that they may not go from here and then straight away over here. We need to make sure that they're constantly sitting in our system. So if we do get them over here, they're not quite ready to get onto a call, we then go them back into our content ecosystem, nurture them a little bit further with our authority content, consume a little bit more lead magnets, content assets until they're ready to really start pre-selling and convert. Now we've covered both aspects of these, right? Let's talk about how the lead magnets go into pre-sell and convert, because what we want to do with our lead magnets is also collecting emails, okay? Emails and YouTube are going to be really, really important to selling, the most important factor to selling your high ticket offer. So what we want to do with our lead magnets, right, is we want to capture their email through our lead magnets in exchange for them to get our content lead magnet, okay? We need to make sure that for them getting our free asset, we're getting their email for exchange. And the reason for that is we're then going to set them up into a 7-day delivery sequence, all right? And this simply is going to nurture them further so they get a bigger insight of what it is we actually do. This will show them things like client wins, social proof, give them tips and tricks and stuff like that. But the really, really important thing, right, that we need to remember is why emails are such a powerful asset. We need to realize that ultimately our Instagram isn't something that we control. We can get locked out, we can get banned, this and that. This is something that we don't have control from. However, with emails, it's 100% yours and you have control when it gets delivered, okay? You know that it gets seen, unlike a DM that can get ignored. We can create sequences and we can continue to nurture people by creating more sequences as we have their emails. The email is like the little golden nugget, okay? We just want to continue nurturing them and delivering our email sequences so that they can get nurtured further through our content ecosystem. And they need to see you as that person they want to buy from. It won't happen straight away. And this is why we set up a 7-day delivery sequence, right? This is going to nurture, make sure it gets delivered, and it's 100% yours. What we aim to do, but if we can't get calls booked, right, we can then upsell to a mid-ticket offer they can take straight away. However, this could be something like, right, here's a full editing breakdown, step by step. If they don't want that, we can then also upsell them to a low-ticket offer, right? So a low-ticket offer could be, here is your LUT, £10 or 50p or £5, whatever it may be. We want to keep them in the ecosystem and just keep using our email sequences to just drive traffic and nurture them, okay? This is really where we're going to pre-sale convert them. Within our emails, by the time they get on this book call, we want them to know exactly what it is we offer so that when they come on the call, they're already ready to buy. We don't want them coming on the call with questions like, what is it you actually do? They need to know your offer inside and out. So now that we've covered emails, okay, we're going to nurture them with our 7-day email sequence, all right? This is ultimately going to get them book calls, lower ticket offers and stuff like that. And then we also want to send them over to our YouTube, okay? This is going to continue nurturing them and let them consume our content, okay? okay? With our content, all right, we need to make sure that every piece of content is funneling back to our VSL. And I'll make sure that this VSL is linked to every single video. At the end of the video, we're going to funnel people back to this VSL. This video here, I think it was this video here, that got me 2.5K. It sold me to one of my high ticket students just by seeing this video because it nurtured them and showed them my process. But then we also want to make sure that people who haven't seen this video, at the end of every video, they get told to go watch this one. Why? Because this is explaining my whole offer. This here is a complete sales funnel in itself. It's a silent sales machine, all right? This is what we want to get people to go back to every single time. It breaks down what your offer is, how you can help them, and where they need to sign up. So with our YouTube, we're going to create our content that we're getting out of authority content through our adverts. We're using the same scripts into our YouTube videos so that everything links together. So we might pull an advert out of how to get fully booked. Bang. If you want to learn how to get fully booked, follow these next steps in the next 30 days, okay? Or if you want to learn how to use a system, this is the system I use to start getting paid for my social media content. Every piece of video is coming from our course. Then we make sure our YouTube videos are linking straight back to this YouTube VSL. And then what we need to do with this YouTube VSL is tell them exactly what they need to do. Make sure that we sort out our description so it tells them what they can do, get them booked in for a call. And then finally, what we want to do is get them on a strategy call, talk them through the process and get them on board. So now let's just break down this whole funnel one last time, all right? So I like to call this top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. So our top of funnel is just driving traffic, okay? We're just driving traffic to our profile, whether that be through paid or organic. Once we have the eyeballs on our page, we now need to nurture and redirect. So this is when they start to consume our authority content. They start to see that we are this go-to resource. They look through our stories, our think of you content, right? Always be posting stories so that they can see at the top of their page. Then they start to consume our lead magnets, all right? They're getting them free tips and tricks. They're thinking, hey, Tim's really helping me out here. They're starting to get a little bit warm. Once we do this, we get their emails, and now we start to send them an email sequence for the next 7 days, telling them, right, this is our client successes, this is an extra tip and tricks, this is how I've done this, show them social proof. After the 7 days, we can then tell them a direct CTA to tell them to get a booked call. If they say no, that's fine. They get another email, which then upsells a mid-ticket offer, a low-ticket offer. Once that, we then consume them over to our YouTube, heading over to our YouTube VSL where they start to see our offer. Then they look down in the description, get themselves a book call, onto a call, and then that's when you try and close them. So if you think about it, it's super, super important to make sure that your content works yourself. This is why you need to have a full system to understand why your content works. And this links to my previous video beforehand, understanding why you need to create content that converts. Every piece of content needs to have a system. I know that can sound extremely confusing, but it's really, really a lot simpler than what you think. But if you're a barber that really wants to build their personal brand ecosystem that allows you to add an extra 10K a month without working behind the chair 10 hours a day by leveraging professional content, then this is what you need to do. You need to set up a content ecosystem. However, the sad truth is most of you watching won't actually do this. There's 3 choices that you can make. You can stay as you are, and ultimately you're going to keep watching things and you're going to think, I really want to do it, but you're not going to take action. A lot of you are going to stay in that section. Or you can stay and learn by yourself. This is where you can take the free assets like my YouTube video where I drop weekly content on how this stuff works so that you as a barber can really start to scale your business. And if you don't want to take the next step, this is a great way to learn by yourself, but it's going to take you a long time. Or finally, you can take action. If you want to work one-on-one with me directly and take the guesswork out of content creation and start building this content ecosystem for yourself so that every piece of content has a purpose, right? And you want to build your personal brand ecosystem and earn an extra 10K a month for the next 90 days without trial and error, DM me Profit on Instagram and I'll be more than happy to send you the information. Either way, you know exactly how I set up my funnel so I can start monetizing my personal brand. The question is, the ball's in your court. What are you going to do?